Nate Burleson is with us, NFL Network Good Morning Football co-host. And you can follow him on Twitter at Nate13Burleson. Also see him Monday through Friday, NFL Network's Good Morning Football at 7 a.m. Eastern from Times Square. How are you, Nader?
I'm good. It's the perks of being in New York. Lil Rel, Rick Pitino, Urlacher. I don't fit in that group, but I'll take it, baby. I'll take it.
No, you're one of our favorite guests.
We
thought it was great. And then the fact that we could have Urlacher in here at the same time you're in here.
Yeah.
Because you two had, how would you describe your relationship or lack thereof?
We had some battles, and at one point I thought I hated Urlacher. You know, when you're young and you're in the NFC North, the black and blue division, you're taught by the OGs that you're supposed to hate every other color, every other team. And Urlacher, because he is so good, he is so dominant, I always wanted to embarrass him more than anybody on their team because, you know, if you knock off the head, the body's going to fall. So if I can make him look like a fool, there will be no confidence in their squad. And I was a dancer. I was that guy that would go over the top, and he'll tell you, I'll catch a 2-yard first down, and I'm bumping into the safeties and moving guys up the way. Get off me, you know what I'm saying? I'm looking like Kevin Hart on stage. And he would always get so mad at me. And I remember one game in particular, I dropped a swing route, and it hit my fingertips, and I'm doing one of these, like, darn it, and I'm walking to the other, and he was like, hey, 13. Where's that dance now, man? Where's that? And I'm like, look at your big ass dance. He's 6'5", and he did a little shimmy, and it made me so mad. Like, I don't know why. Even to this day, I was like, why are you mocking me? Because he was the quiet one. He didn't do the trash talking, but I could tell he wanted to get under my skin, and he did. And I remember the rest of that game, I'm like, you know what? I'm about to embarrass him. I'm embarrass his DBs. And I caught a ball, shook a DB, ran out of bounds, and I ran directly to him, and I'm in his face. Like, I don't want to fight him, of course, because I probably get beat up. But I'm like, yeah, all game long, baby. So that would happen over and over again. And then I remember I broke my leg in Chicago. And I tried to get up, and I collapsed. And it was like one of the movie moments where I'm like, I don't want these dudes to see how weak I am. I'm going to make it off this field by myself. Try to get up again, and I crumble. And my trainers come over, and they help me off the field. And then somebody says, hey, 13, we know you're tough. Let them help you off the field. And I'm thinking it's coming from my side. And I look over it, and it's Urlacher. And I was like, damn. Like, all the while, I thought that I didn't like this guy. And then he had a passing in his family. I believe it was his mother. And the middle of the game, this is like a year later, I said, hey, man, I'm sorry about your loss. He looked at me and said, thanks. And like at that point, I was like, it's such nonsense for guys to get caught up in the rivalry because it's so much bigger. And now he's one of my favorite men in general. Anytime I get to see him on TV, anytime he comes on the show, it's like a brother. It's like a brother that you fought when you were younger in elementary, and now you guys are extremely tight. So, yeah, I'm proud of him. And for him going into the Hall of Fame, it means a lot because I know that I played up against some of the greats, some of the guys of this game.
Would you rather face Ray Lewis or Brian Urlacher?
I would rather face Ray Lewis because Ray Lewis was a bigger frame. He might have been faster and a little bit more powerful. Urlacher was more versatile in the sense that I was afraid to go up against him if he was covering me because of his length, his catch radius, and his ability to cover deep downfield. I knew at some point if I got Ray Lewis downfield, I could probably expose him in his covering ability. Not so much Urlacher. His range, I'm talking sideline to sideline, goal line to goal line, was like no other. And he rewrote a position that is constantly rewritten, which is odd to say.
Nate Burleson, NFL Network Good Morning Football co-host. The highlight of your NFL career was what?
The highlight of my NFL career was helping make Detroit relevant again. You know, I got drafted by Minnesota. Those days were great. You know, I remember them handing me a check for $500-something thousand, and I was like, "Oh, baby, I made it."
What'd you do with it?
I put it right in the bank. I got the athlete starter kit, which is the Escalade and the fake chain, and then I put it in the bank. Wait, you had a
fake chain?
I had a fake. Well, nobody gonna ask me if it was fake. Yeah, that was some of the OGs. They was like, "Don't buy anything real until you can afford it." And then I went to Seattle, which was great because I'm from Seattle. And I remember them handing me a check for $4 million. It said 2.6 on it. I was like, "Mama, we made it again." And then I signed to Detroit, and that check was a little bit bigger. And that was fun, but it was more than the money because 2 years prior they were 0-16. A year previous they were 2-14. And I remember a player in that locker room the day I signed said, "Oh, I thought it was a rumor. You understand this is the funeral for guys' careers. Like I didn't believe that you would sign here. Why would you sign here out of all places?" I'm looking at this dude, and in my head I'm thinking, they pay you, bro? Like you sign up to represent this city and this organization, and you're here on Sundays, and they're cutting you a check. And I had to like change that mindset and that culture. And they weeded some guys out. They brought in some guys. And now like Detroit, they don't look at themselves as the armpit of the NFL. And I know it's kind of cyclical, so it happens to certain teams. And right now, I think the Cleveland Browns are in the midst of that, which is why I can appreciate a Baker Mayfield who says, yeah, I want to go there. Like, I want to be part of something big. Because if you can change the complexion of how a team is viewed and the perception of themselves, like, you're a legend forever. Even if you don't win, you're a legend. I spent 4 years in Detroit. I was banged up more than I would have wished. I was an unfulfilled number 2 to Calvin. If I'd have stayed healthy, of course, I'd have been better. But because I was invested and I was 10 toes down.
So you were number 2 to Calvin Johnson.
And Randy.
Number 2 to Randy Moss.
Yeah, and Randy.
At their peak, who's better?
At their peak, that's a tough question. At their peak, I would say Randy Moss pumped more fear in guys. If you break down like just pure ability.
Who do you want? Who do you want?
I would want Randy Moss. I would want Randy Moss.
Okay, but it's close.
It's close because the reason that I'm thinking so much.
I think you're afraid to say Calvin because Randy might blow you up right now.
No. This is what I say. Who would I want? Because Randy was so explosive. I'm talking Olympic speed fast. Calvin was the more well-rounded wide receiver. He could block better. He is more physical at the point of attack. If you ran Calvin across the middle, he's going to try to run over your linebacker and your safety and then score a touchdown. If you ran Randy Moss over the middle, he's going to catch the ball. He's not going to take that big shot. But Randy's space was that umbrella to defense. He took that top off every time. But the fear, I remember being in the slot and looking at Randy as we're lining up, and he was standing erect, like completely up. It's averse to what we're taught as wide receivers. You get low, you're like a car coming out of the gates. And as tall as he was, the DBs were so scared, no exaggeration. See the white of their eyes, see their hands trembling, and I'd see their toes lifted up off the ground. Toes, which means in their head, they were thinking, I got to get out of here. And they were already on their heels. And I would look at Randy, and he'd be looking at me like, damn right. The play ain't even started yet, and I got him beat.
Tell me the logic of Jalen Ramsey calling out all these quarterbacks.
It's Muhammad Ali. It's Floyd Mayweather. It's Richard Sherman.
Yeah, but they won things.
It's true. But the great ones, they called their shots and then went out there and walked the walk. And I'm not going to call him a great one, but you know how bold you got to do to call somebody out before you even did anything? Initially, I was like, you're out of your mind. Young pup, what are you doing? I remember talking crazy to Steve Smith. And Steve Smith is like top 5 craziest person on earth.
And Steve don't play.
Steve don't, still to this day.
He don't play.
Steve was on the show the other day, and I was like, we need to pull his mic because he going to curse any minute. But that's my dog. That's like my brother right there. But I remember thinking like, Jalen, you better respect the legends. But then I started thinking about it. Aside from paying homage once when you see somebody as a man, how much respect do you owe him after that? Like when he went on GQ and he started calling all these quarterbacks, and they're like, Nate, isn't that disrespectful? How's it disrespectful if in his eyes it's true? He's talking about Eli, saying Eli's nothing without Odell. What he saw last year, it might be true. And all these other quarterbacks, do you think 5 years from now, 10 years from now, they'd waste a breath talking about the greatness of Jalen Ramsey? So why does he have to hold back what he thinks is true? So the old man in me, the grumpier old dude on the porch says, young pup, respect the OGs, because that's how I was taught. But then I thought to myself, don't concede. Like you don't have to. You don't have to. I know it's not PC, but you don't have to. And I got to be honest with you, Dan. I felt like there was a large part of my career where I did too much of that. Playing with Randy, playing with Calvin. I talk about it all the time. I made a living off of being there robbing. And I was fine with watching Batman go to work and kicking ass all the time. But what if I would have been a little bit of a jerk? What if I'd have asked for a little bit more money? What if I'd have wanted a little bit more of the spotlight? Instead of making, a few million, I would have made 40 or 50 million. Some of these guys, they call their shot and they talk themselves in a position of power. The question is, can they follow up all that talk by walking it?
If your wife comes out in a dress and she says, do I look fat? You don't say you look fat. You say, you know what, maybe a different color.
It's true.
So Jalen is being honest, but that doesn't, I don't give you extra credit just because you're honest.
This is true, but then...
Because you know what bothered me the most? He wasn't honest about Blake Bortles.
You're right.
If he's honest about Blake Bortles, he made my job easier that week. I had a lot of things to say, But if you're going to be talking about, Matt Ryan and all these other guys and Eli Manning, and then when the topic is Blake Bortles, and then you say, well, he's good in the playoffs.
He told that line. He said he's good in the playoffs. Blake does what he has to do. I think the new generation, and this goes for a lot of these millennials, especially when it comes to music. I mean, you look at some of these weird hip-hop artists, like these guys don't care about the lineage and the history of hip-hop. Like, you ask a dude now today who's selling all kind of records and got all kind of streams, what's your favorite Biggie album or Tupac? They're like, I don't know, I've never listened to it. Some guys in the league now, basketball, football, baseball, they might not necessarily care about what happened 2 decades ago. And I can't be mad. And what are we going to do? In your free time, go watch some NFL films. No, I can't force them to do that. I remember Russell Westbrook, everybody was saying, oh, you're a Cali guy. You got to love Kobe. When he first got in the league, he was like, Kobe's good. Like, he's not my God. Like, he's not my idol. I don't have to call him my idol if I don't want to. And I think that's what some of these young guys are saying, like, I want my idols to become my rivals. I don't want to hold them up on a pedestal my whole career.
The Khalil Mack deal.
Ooh.
Is Urlacher here?
Sure is.
Uh-oh.
There he is.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
We're back here.
No, you guys are good, though. you and Nate are good, right?
Yeah, we're
right?
Good. We're real good.
We're on
Okay.
good terms.
Nate's the man.
That's my dog.
Didn't used to be good, but you guys are good now.
We were still good then.
We had some good battles. We had
Okay.
some good battles.
All right.
He gave us some good butt whoopings.
Well, where was I?
Khalil Mack.
Okay, Khalil Mack deal.
Yeah.
Explain it from the Raiders' point of view, why this makes sense.
Well, it makes sense because they're trying to win right now. I think the misconception about teams with a young quarterback is that they're building and they're rebuilding. And for so long, they didn't have the pieces. The running game struggled, and then they got Jordan Howard and Tariq Cohen. And then the wide receivers, like, where's Kevin White? They shipped out Jeffrey and Brandon Marshall. What are they going to do? Now they got those pieces. They added in wide receivers, tight end play. And, of course, they've been loading up on the defense side of the ball. And even with Roquan Smith being your guy, you add on a fixture.
Oh, I love what the Bears did.
Fixture. Oh, you talking about for Oakland?
Yeah.
Oh, it don't make sense at all.
Okay.
It don't make sense at all. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing here? And this isn't a shot to Gruden because I'm not that guy to sit here and take shots at coaches. I was taught better than that. But if you making $100 million, your quarterback's making over $100 million, you go talk to a dude that is a $100 million man, and that's Khalil Mack. And for Gruden to say, oh, I haven't reached out to him yet, I haven't talked to him yet, what are you waiting on? That's the first phone call you're going to make. Even if you know that the situation is bleak and it might not turn out right, hey, how you doing, Khalil? What can I do? Can I take you out to dinner? Can we talk? Can we rap? How can I make this better? We need to figure out a way to get you on the squad. It just doesn't make sense when you have a dominant guy, as dominant as him, and you're letting him go. Now, we can all say that, 3 years from now, if the Oakland Raiders load up, that they won the deal. But right now, at the surface, I feel like the Chicago Bears are winning in more ways than one.
I like what the Bears are doing. I think the defense, I liked him before this, but this is all based on Trubisky.
It does.
You're rolling the dice on Trubisky because if he proves to be a franchise quarterback, then this is going to pay dividends because you get that rookie contract for a quarterback, and now you can build a team just like Seattle did.
Right, just like Seattle did, Carson Wentz, right, and that deal. But that's it, right? It's what are they going to do now in that Nagy system? They're going to open up that playbook, let them go out there. All of a sudden, the NFC North is really sexy. Talking about the storylines with that, Kirk Cousins, all that money in Minnesota Vikings, and they got to. Let's be real, they got to win the Super Bowl.
You got to go to the Super Bowl.
Matt Stafford, that's my dog. I played with him. Matt, hey, where you at, Matt? Are you a top 5 quarterback? Can you will your team to be better than the other 3 quarterbacks that you're supposed to be better than? And can you go take the throne from Aaron Rodgers? And speaking of Aaron Rodgers, the boogeyman is back in Green Bay. And for what it's worth, people think I hate on the Green Bay Packers, and maybe there is some ill will because they kicked our butts too. But I don't think that it's a shoo-in that Aaron Rodgers is going to have the Jordan effect and all these pieces all of a sudden are going to play incredibly well. This division is too loaded for it to be that easy. It's not as easy as it used to be for Green Bay.
Give me the quarterback you'd like to catch a pass from, past, present.
I really love what Carson Wentz did last year.
Wait, of all the quarterbacks, Carson Wentz?
Because his ability to extend the pocket. And he has that big frame.
Wait, like Joe Namath or Joe Montana?
Talking about of all time?
All time.
Oh, all time?
One
yeah,
pass.
yeah. My father is from San Francisco, so it would have had to be Joe Montana. So, my heart was always in San Francisco. Being a West Coast kid, we used to drive down 14 hours from Seattle in a Bronco, deep, 6 of us. And I would go down there, and I would think about putting on those colors. And Joe Montana, to me, he was a god of the game.
Have you met him?
No, never met him.
Oh,
I heard
boy.
Joe Montana don't show up unless a check is involved. I mean, I ain't speaking on his money. I'm just saying. That's just what I heard. I ain't see him at the Hall of Fame. Just saying. Hashtag just saying.
Maybe if you work in some Skechers commercials on your show.
You're right. I'm going to hook him up some Skechers because he loves those things.
Yes, he does. Well, no, he gets them. He
Oh,
doesn't
gets
need
them,
your
yeah.
help. He's Mr. Sketcher. He's Nate Burleson, NFL Network Good Morning Football co-host, and you can see him Monday through Friday, NFL Network Good Morning Football, 7 a.m. Eastern from Times Square. Nate, great to see you, buddy. As
I
always.
appreciate you
We
guys,
appreciate
man.
it.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or download the Dan Patrick Show app.